Here is my shunt set on an 11mm Kern mantle rope. I do have a couple of warnings or information about the shunt, and one is that if the rope should not be spread above the shunt. It looks like it would try to spread the shunt or bind the rope or maybe cut the rope, but if you're going to have it in a configuration, you need to install it so that there's not a lot of spread there in that rope.
The other word of warning about the shunt is that if there is going to be additional friction, and there needs to be, I wouldn't use this really as I have not found it useful as a climbing or a descending device. I found it very useful as an adjustable tether, but actually for climbing I don't find it that useful. But if you were going to try to use it, and this may apply to some of you that are footlockers in the scenario that I'm going to point out, but if you have additional friction, whether it be a figure 8 or a friction hitch or anything, it's supposed to be above the shunt.
Another word of caution, the way that the shunt works is when you are suspended from the anchor, it locks onto the rope. But if you put your hands around it, it's supposed to release. So if you're in panic mode, the reaction might be to grab it and pull down, releasing the shunt and allowing you to slide down the rope. So if you are going to try to use it as some kind of a climbing system, for example, if you are going to footlock up this anchor rope, then you could put a hitch above the shunt, and that would protect you from going into that panic mode and having the shunt slide down. And as you say you were footlocking up the rope, the hitch will just move up out of the way. Also, if for some reason, I trust the shunt, but if you didn't and you wanted that extra second connection, if you're actually using it for a climbing system, then that would provide your second backup attachment to that rope if you are going to use it as a climbing system. For me, I am using it as an anchor system. And again, now in this configuration, I'm using it as an anchor, but you could just as well put another friction hitch above that if you wanted another backup until you got up to the anchor point.
Just wanted to point out that it is possible to get that to release, but you have to pretty much suspend your weight and take almost all of your weight off of your climbing system in order to get the shunt to release. One of the advantages to using the shunt is that, as I will show in this video, I can set a pulley saver from the ground quite easily and remove it. If you were wanting to set this on a spar or a very large limb and avoid that spread that the Petzl recommends not to have, then you could set up your configuration such as this and still have everything completely removable from the ground. As you'll see in the video, I can bring my climbing system down, and of course you can recover your adjustable friction saver.
Alright, I have my anchor line set at my tie-in point. It's about 60 feet. And I've also taken, because of the adjustability, I think it's really important to put stopper knots or bitter end knots at each end of the anchor.
Alright, so this is how the system would look halfway up the tree or all the way up the tree. I have my anchor line and I have my climbing line. This is set up right now so that I can set it up in the tree and then ascend or climb on my climbing line, DdRT. Here I've set up the system I prefer to go up SRT. So I've got my SRT system set up with the rig pulley ready to go. And in order to relieve the pressure on that shunt, when I pull the line up, I put a couple of slip knots there, and we'll demonstrate how that works. But as I pull the system up the tree, it'll go, and once it's close to my anchor, then all I have to do is pull the slip knots out, and there's my line ready to go for SRT. And I give that a tug. That would be up the tree, but anyway, I think you can see what I'm referring to. So once I've given all those a tug, here's my climbing line right there, ready to go. Okay, again, so here's my system, SRT, but it could just as well be a DdRT system that you're setting up there, and it is ready to go up the tree to the anchor. So I guess I need to buy another shunt, because now that my shunt is up the tree, I can't use it as an adjustable tether. So I've got this Dualcender to use as an adjustable tether, and it's kind of nice because it's got an independent cam on that side. And I put a stopper knot there. I set the length so it never goes out of my reach, and put a stopper knot there, and I leave a little tail there so that I can easily grab it and make those adjustments with an Ashley stopper knot at the end.
Just as a matter of practice, I think it's important to keep that anchor line separated from your climbing line as much as possible. I reached my Pulley Saver, but I'd like to get it a little bit higher.
Setting this up is nice as well, in that I never have to disconnect and subject myself to a fall. Take out my fine butterfly. And there's the system ready to go. And again, I never unclip from that system. Not that that's a big deal since I'm tied in, but just one more thing. Alright, so now I'm going to take that anchor and move it a little bit higher. Okay, so I put another slip knot on there, and I'm not going that far with it, so I won't worry about the weight of the rope. And I pull my anchor a little higher, pull out my knot, and there, I'm ready to go up.
Alright, I sent my Pulley Saver a little higher. I'm just going to climb up with the DdRT system to get a little closer to the tie-in point. I've reached my high tie-in point. Now I'm going to work my way over on the limb to get the retract so I can get down to my lounge chair better.
I take the tail of the anchor line with me.
Alright, I've reached my redirect, and now I'm going to take my Pulley Saver and position it over the top of my lounge chair. I'll put it in this crotch right here so that I can get down.
Pulley Saver over to my redirect, and this crotch looks like it is suitable to pull the shunt back through. Okay, there's
Alright, I've made it back over to the spar and I'm ready to retrieve my redirect. Give it a little pull. It got my pulley back over to the spar, and I'll use the recovery line and bring it back. Okay, I've reconnected my DdR climbing system to the pulley, and I'm ready to unclip and descend from here.
and there's my pulley, and I think I'll go down. My climbing system, I could take that off for demonstration purposes right now. Then I bring my Pulley Saver down.